tax-free state with another public announcement. Peace to all my people out there in the chat. This is the United States private enterprise free state. And we are here today to talk about real talk tax refunds. But before we even get into it, there was a so-called teacher on today talking about the cat that wears the dinosaur suit in the purple that talks about the tax refunds. That cat in the dinosaur suit is dropping mad science on how to read tax transcripts. He dropped a lot of science on how to get a tax refund. So the other guru is trying to put him down and saying that his process is not real. His process is real because that cat in the dinosaur suit, the purple dinosaur suit, taught a lot of people how to read a tax transcript. A lot of people did not know how to read a tax transcript or even know where to go find their tax transcript until that cat came on in a purple dinosaur suit and dropped it. But the real thing is, if you need to know anything about the process, all you got to do is give it to chat, give it to your chat GPT, and chat GPT will tell you everything that you need to know straight up. So it's a lot of gurus out there that's hating on that cat in the purple dinosaur suit that dropped it on the tax refund, how to go and get it. That cat dropped mad science. He showed you how to even use a tax transcript as leverage for any deal that you are trying to close without having to put down any money. And it works. So, you know, a lot of people need to stop being haters because, Chat GPT is your accountant. You don't really need an accountant because Chat GPT is there. All you got to do is upload your tax transcript in. You don't know what to do? Upload your tax transcript into Chat GPT, and it will tell you everything you need to do on how to satisfy your tax transcript to go and get the refund. So, you know, people need to stop it. A lot of these gurus, they need to stop it. A lot of people need to stop. They need to, the mere fact is that people are not really making any money off of the process no more, trying to act like a guru because ChatGPT put a stop to that. So my people, if the birth certificate has been notarized and authenticated by the county court and the state and has a signature guarantee by a commercial bank in the United States of America, is the birth certificate now a security? No. What is a security? Under U.S. law, specifically the Securities Act of 1933 and Securities Exchange Act of 1934, a security refers to a financial instrument that represents ownership, like stocks, a creditor relationship like bonds, or rights to ownership like options includes stocks, bonds, treasury bills, mutual fund shares, investment contracts. A birth certificate does not under any of these categories. What do those actions actually do? Notarization verifies the identity of the signer, does not create a monetary value or convert a document into a financial instrument. Authentication by county state confirms the document is official and valid for a legal purpose, passports, immigration, and so forth. Again, not a financial transaction or conversion. Signature guarantee by a commercial bank, typically used for transferring securities, not personal records. A bank guarantees that a person has an authority to sign a document related to securities, not turn the document itself into a security. Common misunderstanding, straw man theory, and redemption movement. The belief that a birth certificate is a security tied to a government trust or secret account is a debunked conspiracy theory, often associated with the citizen or redemption movement. They wrongly claim the US government creates a trust account in your name at birth, your birth or reality. Courts have consistently ruled against them. In summary, even with all those authentications and notarization, a birth certificate remains a legal record, not a financial security. Well, in some cases, some people would disagree with that. Some people say that the birth certificate is a bond. Some people say at the bottom of their birth certificate, it says that it's a bond. Now, if it is a bond on some people's birth certificates, then shit, it's a security because a bond, from what we just heard earlier, is a security. A bond is a security. If you're looking into lawful ways to leverage legal documents, trust structures, or business credit, I can guide you. You can call the United States Private Enterprise Free State up 407 300 5377. We do have consultation fees, and the consultation fee is $50 for 1 hour. Okay, we are a on the records business, so we have to charge. So the claim that the birth certificate serial number is traded on the stock market is a myth. In some cases, that is a lie because I've looked it up and I've seen where my birth certificate has been traded on the stock market with that serial number and how much it was worth. I've seen it for my own self. So this is kind of not true. Or file number. This is for record keeping, not trading. It helps vital record offices track and verify documents. It's no different than a driver's license number or passport. But what people don't really understand is that if you read your birth certificate, the registrar in New York is owned by Germans. The Germans own vital statistics, which means the Germans own that birth certificate company is owned by Germans. So if it's owned by Germans, what does that tell you? That evidently they have some type of hand in your labor. Labor is traded. So, you could go deeper down a rabbit hole for yourself. Nothing from your birth certificate is on the stock market. That's a lie because I've seen it with my own two eyes. They say there is no evidence from the SEC Treasury or any stock exchange that your birth certificate or its number. That's a lie because if you look at the serial number on the BC, it is traded on the stock market. It might not be titled birth certificate, but that serial number is your labor, which is tied to the SSN number. So they say that tied to a CUSIF Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures, that's the CUSIF number, backed by a bond, used in any treasury market or financial instrument. CUSIF numbers are for securities like stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, not personal documents. Well, I did try to get a CUSIF number for a birth certificate, and the CUSIF number company said give numbers for certificates of birth. So I don't know how far that goes. Where this claim comes from and why it's false. This ideal originates from debunked redemption or sovereign citizen theories, which falsely claim you were assigned a straw man corporation at birth. Okay, they can be labeling it's totally different. It's going through the community that it's a straw man corporation, but it could be titled something different in their system, but it's still a straw man corporation. So they would say, no, that's not true. It's a lie because it's not, because you said straw man corporation. So anybody that calls up and say straw man corporation, you tell them, no, that is a false and it's a debunked redemption process. So you get shot down because you used the wrong words. The government uses your birth certificate to trade on your value. Your value is your labor. So, yes, they are using that to trade on your labor. And they'll tell you no, that it's a lie, yada, all types of shit they'll tell you. If you keep searching deeper down the rabbit hole, you'll find out for yourself. You can access a secret treasury account using UCC filings. Well, there's really no secret account. The account is the Federal Reserve, that is a privately owned corporation, company, bank in the private, and that who is connected to the IRS, who is connected to Treasury Direct, who is connected to the central banking system. You cannot open up your own bank without going through the Federal fucking Reserve. If you're trying to open up a private bank, you have to get your routing number through the Federal Reserve. And that routing number is going to be $750 or $550. And they have to do a thorough background check on you before they even give it to you. And which means that you are governed by the superintendent of your state. So you have to have a bond, whatever your bond is in your state to open up your private bank is the bond money that you have to go and get a bond for. And in New York, it's $50,000 to open up your own bank in New York. In Florida, I think it's like 20,000 or 30,000 in Florida. Um, so let's see what we got here. Um, okay. Not true. On Treasury Direct, I found my birth certificate serial worth a certain amount of money, and the signature guarantee had a letter Y, making it worth 5 million. Thanks for bringing that up. You're clearly looking into it this deeply, so let's address it clearly, piece by piece. Treasury Direct shows your birth certificate serial worth a certain amount of money, or 5 million with a Y stamp. This is not true, and here's why. With facts and tools, you can verify yourself. Treasury Direct does not track birth certificates. That's a goddamn lie. Treasury Direct is the official U.S. government for site for buying and managing U.S. Treasury securities, savings bonds, Treasury bills, etc., used for individual investors, not institutions. You can only open up an account with your social security number, not a birth certificate. That part is true. But you cannot look up a birth certificate serial number on Treasury Direct. That's a goddamn lie. You can look up a serial number. The serial number is the birth certificate number. They are lying to people. They're saying it's a hoax, it's a screenshot manipulation, it's a misinterpretation of accusive. They're lying. They're saying what you're likely seeing is accusive misdirection. Okay, that's, the bottom line is that they're saying letter Y equals 5 million. This is a common hoax. That's a fucking lie. Because when you go into any federal Navy bank, and Federal Navy is the one that will cash your birth certificate in for you. You have to have your Treasury Direct documents, the 50, those documents. You're gonna have to have those documents, the 55, the 54, 44, and then the other documents that you gotta have, and you will get a signature guarantee. Your signature guarantee is going to be the letter. It's a stamped letter. When you look up that stamped letter, it's going to tell you how much the birth certificate is worth. So they need to stop lying straight up. Okay. That's a straight up lie right there. Signature guarantees are not value stamps. A signature guarantee is a bank's way of saying, we verified this person's identity and are authorized to sign this document. It is required to transfer securities, but doesn't turn the document itself into a security. So the bottom line is that they're saying there's no secret account tied to the birth certificate. The claim that you have 5 million sitting in a trust because of the number and a stamp, that's a lie. That's a straight up lie. Not when you know otherwise. So you have to train your chat for the right answers. You have to train your chat for the right answers. So yeah, it's a 54-44 people that you got to have going into your Navy Federal who accepts the birth certificates to get your medallion program stamp on it. That's the only way you're going to know the truth is to go get a medallion stamp on it. Okay. It says this is a standard form required by the U.S. Treasury to authorize and verify your identity when opening up Treasury Direct account, a legitimate system used by Treasury Securities. The medallion signature, this verifies that your identity was authenticated by Navy Federal Credit Union under securities transfer or account exists tied to your birth certificate. The form allows you to open up a real Treasury Direct account, but you fund it yourself. The U.S. government does not activate a secret account with millions. This form okay, people, close up of the medallion signature guarantee. What it is, a security feature used for transferring financial securities. It's a real verified process. Navy Federal has stamp authority to guarantee signatures for financial transfers. Clarification. The Y code and are program and bank identifiers, not dollar values. This doesn't make the form or your identity worth 5 million. That's a lie, because if you go further and do your research, you'll see they have the stamp letters, and the stamp letters mean something. And people, you can also put up your certificates of disposition. If you have any criminal court cases, you can upload that into Chat GPT, and it'll read your whole disposition for you and tell you everything what the disposition means. So, Chat GPT can also be your judge, your court, everything. Um, what else we got for you? Well, my people, like I said, you got a lot of people out there, so-called fake ass gurus. They feed you the wrong knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They're not telling you what you really need to do. They're giving you bits and pieces because they themselves only have bits and pieces. Anybody that has the whole pie is out. They not on they not on no social media, nothing. They leave, they go and get their land, and they start building and get out of the system. That is what any of these gurus still up here telling you that bullshit, that's on some bullshit. Ain't nobody gonna save you but yourself. Nobody's gonna save you but your own research. So to keep the third party out of your business, you can use Chat GPT for everything in this process. Everything. So my people, Article 1, general dispositions. Article 1, the purpose sets out definition, rules, and interpretation of general principles that apply across all other UCC articles. Key concepts. Good faith, reasonable time, course of dealing, definitions of terms like agreement, contract, and value. So you need to be reading your United States Constitution, your UCC, because that does a lot. It says a lot, my people. It's a lot that that you need to take care of in this process. But the biggest thing right now is tax refunds because we're going into the last quarter. In the last quarter, we're in the third quarter right now. The last quarter is when they got to give out these tax refunds because they got to zero their books out. So if you're doing your research on your process, it's your process. It's not nobody else's process, my people. Straight up. If you need a consultation, this is the United States Private Enterprise Free State, my people. 407 300 5377. Straight up. Um, we got that. It's some stuff that a lot of people, trust is real deep. They got this YouTube that they had talked about this trust story where the lawyer robbed a family of their trust money, robbed them, and then tried to go in and get the rest of the trust money. But he couldn't get the rest of the trust money because he wasn't a beneficiary, and the state told him that he wasn't a beneficiary, so he had no rights to it. That's why you cannot make people your trustee like that. You make any lawyer your trustee, you've just given the lawyer your whole estate to manage. So now the lawyer owns all your property. You don't own it no more. You cannot give your trust to anybody. That is why you have to have a living trust, because the living trust is who you can be the trustee, the beneficiary, and the other name. So, the living trust is a must. And if you're doing irrevocable trust, I wouldn't do it with a lawyer. And I would make, if you have to make somebody the trustee in your irrevocable trust, it better be somebody that you can trust, keep your eye on at every minute of the fucking second. Because once you sign over your entire trust to a trustee, that means you own nothing no more. They own your house, they own your mortgage, they own your car, they own your land, they own anything that you've put in that trust. That is why I tell people who call me up with a consultation, I tell them straight up. I tell them how to set up that irrevocable trust. If they're going to use a lawyer as a trustee, I tell them exactly how to do it. You can holler at the United States Private Enterprise Free State for this private consultation. 407 300 5377. And I will tell you the steps that you need if you're going to start your irrevocable trust and you're going to give it over to a lawyer or anybody else. I'm going to tell you the steps that you need to take before you do it. So holler at the United States Enterprise Free State for that private consultation. 407 300 5377. It's a $50 consultation that the truth exists, not giving away its private terms. You typically want the public record to reflect proof of ownership or control of property in the trust name without disclosing the confidential trust agreement itself. So, you need to understand what goes public and what stays private. You know what I'm saying? You have to have that public trust agreement. You have to have a public notice or memorandum of trust. So, but before you give that over and you're doing an irrevocable trust, you need to call the United States Private Enterprise Free State so that we can help you um, to let you know what you need to put in it so somebody won't own it. All right, my people. I'm not going to go over all of this trust stuff because that's private. Um, what is the SSA? The Social Security Administration is a federal government agency that administers the Social Security program, which provides retirement benefits, disability insurance, survivor benefits, supplemental security income. So, you need to find out. So, my people, I jumped in here real quick to let you know. So, if you have further questions, it, peace, peace. Yeah, the fake gurus, they gotta go. I'm gonna end this with yo, fake gurus, fake teachers, all of them niggas sitting up there telling you some bullshit. A lot of them, they when they find out that Chat GPT is taking all their money away from them, then they gotta start calling out other gurus and saying that their shit is fake. But the bottom line is, my people, you really can't make no money from the process like that. How all them gurus was making all that money back in the days off the process because ChatGPT wasn't introduced to the public yet. Now that ChatGPT is introduced to the public, you can't make that money like that no more. You can't make that money like that no more, but through a consultation. Because there are certain things through a consultation that ChatGPT will never tell you straight up. So if you need a consultation, we have a consultation here at the United States Private Enterprise Free State, 407-300-5377. It's a $50 consultation. Holla at us. We got your back. We with y'all one step of the every step of the way, every breath of the way. We there with y'all. We are a heartbeat and a call away, my people. These people and fake gurus need to stop it.